Graceful, milky skin, delicate, slender arms. She looked so beautiful as they carried her out of the entryway in a dark purple coffin. Michael couldn't tear his eyes away from the deceased girl. He stood nearby, briefcase in hand, silently observing the funeral procession. It wasn't out of pity for the deceased woman and her mourners that a yearning welled up inside him, but out of love. It was when he first fell in love. Thoughts of the dead girl consumed Michael's mind. He thought about her incessantly throughout the day, in class, on walks, at home. He even indulged in private moments, imagining the coolness of her touch. 3 days passed and he found himself obsessed with the girl, consumed by a relentless desire. The urge to claim her was overwhelming. A new cemetery had recently opened with few burials, presenting no special obstacles. He only needed to choose the right moment to claim his bride. Under the cover of night, illuminated by a flashlight and a mysterious resolve, Michael embarked on his dark mission to unearth a corpse from its resting place. Skipping afternoon classes to wander the cemetery, he sought out the grave of the woman he loved. Her name was Kaylee, the same age as Michael, 19 years old and laid to rest. She had been a student, a dreamer, a hobbyist. None of that mattered now. Death claimed its own without remorse, indifferent to beauty's allure. Michael wished necromancy weren't mere fairy tales. He longed to bring his beloved back to life, to grant her eternal existence. Silently, Michael transported the body to his rented apartment in an old pickup truck, discreetly dressing Kaylee in familiar clothes and seating her on the couch. He whispered warm, affectionate words, as if she could hear him. Perhaps a faint blush appeared on her cheeks. Her lips seemed to hint at a smile. "I'll make some tea now." Michael's voice conveyed the depth of his feelings for his departed love. Bringing 2 cups of tea from the kitchen, Michael sat beside Kaylee, caressing her, kissing her, savoring the illusion of her presence. The untouched second cup of tea lingered. The next day, news of a desecrated grave spread across local TV stations. Michael followed the reports, smiling victoriously as Kaylee obediently sat beside him, her lifeless gaze fixed on the screen. "What a commotion," Michael grinned, finishing his coffee. "They think they can find us. I don't think so." Michael proceeded with caution. No fingerprints, gloves always on. Shoe marks burned, witnesses absent. Fate seemed to favor him, a source of quiet pride. "I'm late for class, dear." Michael kissed his bride and left the apartment. Alone, Kaylee sat silently in the room, gazing blankly at the black TV screen. Outside, life carried on unaware, while Michael's thoughts remained consumed by Kaylee. "Home, sweet home." Silence answered. Dead women don't speak. Kaylee still sat by the TV. Michael kissed her on the head. "Did you miss me?" "I missed you a lot. I didn't have the energy to cook, so I brought some baked goods. It's a simple dinner for us tonight." Silence, as always. Michael carried Kaylee to the kitchen, warmed the pastries, and began eating, narrating his day. Kaylee listened silently, her gaze fixed on him. Finishing his meal, Michael smiled, gently touching Kaylee's hand. "I love you," he whispered, kissing her lips without seeking a response. He tenderly carried her into the bedroom, where he engaged in passionate intimacy with the deceased woman. She lay there, unresisting, making no unnecessary movements or sounds, completely at Michael's mercy. Inside her it was tight, a bit challenging to enter, but all the more pleasurable, with a slight pressure on his organ, causing him to quickly climax. After a few more thrusts, he grew tired and settled beside her, holding her tightly by the shoulders. He had lost his virginity to a dead girl. In the morning, Michael felt uneasy. There was discomfort in his groin, making walking unpleasant. Despite this, he had to leave, but staying was even better. Now he could spend more time with his beloved. "I'll be fine," Michael said affectionately, sitting the girl on his lap. "It's okay because I made love for the first time." Each trip to the bathroom was painful. His penis was flaccid and grayish, struggling to function. His legs barely obeyed, and Michael shuffled around the apartment, refusing to admit he had contracted something from the corpse. He continued to be intimate with the dead girl, carrying her and taking care of her. Meanwhile, the corpse was gradually decaying, but Michael paid no mind. Michael was absent from school for a long time. He ignored calls and avoided visitors. The stench of decay emanated from his apartment, and Michael could no longer leave his bed. His legs had completely failed him. The half-rotted corpse of his beloved lay beside him, Before his mobility waned, Michael managed to buy a wedding dress and hold a makeshift wedding at home. He organized a dinner for two, but Kaylee's share was consumed by flies and cockroaches. He bought rings. One adorned Kaylee's bony finger. The dress was stained and torn, where maggots, Michael's only sustenance, had emerged. He didn't want anyone to witness him like this, beside the one he loved. Outside, eviction threats loomed along with police intervention, a world Michael had long abandoned. His world lay close beside him, the adored Kaylee. His love for her was the only reason he clung to life. If only he knew the extent of what love could do. Then one day, she came back to life, the one who had been dead all along. Michael was fast asleep, oblivious as his deceased wife rose from bed. Drawn by the scent of decay, Michael woke to her presence. He smiled softly, opening his eyes slightly, and sleepily greeted her. "Good morning, love. Are you up already?" A heavy, wheezing breath was her response. Michael leaned in for a kiss, receiving a post-mortem, iron-flavored one. The reanimated corpse stumbled to the door, gently pushing against it. A neighbor noticed and took the initiative to address the situation, unwittingly opening Pandora's box.